Welcome to another Masters of Marketing.
Today, we're going to be talking with Paxton Gray. He's a marketer, university professor. He's the CEO of a 100-person marketing agency. And today he's here to teach us how to better understand and connect with your audience in order to produce marketing messages that impact your market. Paxton, great to have you here today. Can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Great to be here. Yeah, I'm excited.
Likewise. So tell us, what's it like to run a 100-person marketing agency? And what's your best story in growing your empire?
Oh man, shoot, it is fun. It's a blast. I mean, what a wild ride. I actually started at this agency as like the lowest level employee they had. And I've been working here for the past 7 years, kind of just like working my way up. And through that time, I've got a chance to speak all over the world. You know, I've been to Milan, I've gone to New York a ton of times, and in California, and just like getting to travel a ton has been, Costa Rica, we've got a couple clients over there. That's pretty fun. And all the people I've gotten to meet, you know, I've got to meet people from some of the top cruise lines in the world, and the NFL and Wells Fargo, Capital One, and just like all that experience. I don't think there's any other way I could have had that opportunity. So that's just been like wild. And it's been a blast to see this agency grow.
That sounds amazing. I love working. I worked at a design agency before this, and it's amazing. You go in to teach them what you're great at, but you're talking about the NFL, the cruises, you walk out learning what they're great at, not even knowing how you had the opportunity to learn how to run a team. It just kind of fell into your lap.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a blast for sure.
Awesome. So did you have a quick presentation together, or what topic?
Yeah.
Discuss?
Yeah, I do.
Perfect.
Cool. So am I good to share my screen, take over?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay. So 97th floor, like you said, we're a 100-person digital marketing agency. We've been around for the past 15 years. We focus heavily on culture and hiring the right people. As a result, you know, we constantly are named as some of the top workplaces by Inc., Forbes, Entrepreneur. And to us, that's one of the most important things, because at the end of the day, who cares the size of the agency or the work that we do if the people here are miserable? It's all for naught. So that is something that I'm just really proud of. And this is the work. So some of the clients that we have, lots of people in the B2B tech space, lots of kind of enterprise clients. So years ago, this guy named Mark Schaefer wrote this article named Content Shock: Why Content Marketing is Not a Sustainable Strategy. Basically, he's saying there's so much content out there that it requires you to spend just tons and tons of money in order to compete and even stand a shot at beating these people. And I think he is completely and totally wrong in that. There's no such thing. And here's my argument. And this is what I wrote an article that went back against him. This is from 1902. And it's talking about books. There are too many books, too many of them to read, too many kinds. 1902. This was in 1924. Too many books written, too few of them to read. This is in 1995. Too many channels, too little time, right? And this is written in January 11 of 2019. Too many podcasts, not enough time. I think we feel that, right? As humans, we just feel like there's just too much. There's just so much. It's more than there's ever been. I can't possibly consume it all. And that's true. You can't consume it all. But the fact is, you don't want to consume it all. Most of it is garbage. Most of the pages on the internet are garbage pages. You would never want to go there anyway, right? Most podcasts are complete and utter garbage. You don't want to spend your time listening to them. And so I think the answer is there's actually not enough content. It's just that there's not enough content for you and for that person and that person. There's a lot of content that's supposed to be for everybody, but frankly is for nobody. Content Marketing Institute did a study in our industry, and they asked people, what are the biggest problems that we face? We said, number one, that we don't have enough time on our hands. 69% said we don't have enough time. Number two was the ability to produce enough content. And that's not just written word. I think of content as way more than just articles. Content is videos and infographics and websites and podcasts, and anything we produce as marketers is content. But that was the number two complaint, is that we're not able to produce enough content to feed the machine. And number three, which is interesting, is that we're not able to produce content that actually engages. So I want to know why. Why are those three the issues that we face, right? And why are they in that order in particular? And I think I have part of the answer. So we've got the boss, right? In any organization, the boss can be the CEO or the CMO, or maybe you're the CMO, and this is like an internal conversation, right? But you've got the boss, you've got the marketer. The boss says, give me viral content. You know that the dress, just do the dress, just get viral content. We're like, okay. Like, what does that even mean? I mean, what a potent time to be I'm talking about this, right? We're comparing our content to a virus. Do you think a virus gives a damn about the host, right? A virus isn't thinking, man, I want to be a good little virus and people are going to happily spread me. No, they're hell-bent on spreading and spreading and spreading, whether the host likes it or not, right? And to compare our content to a virus, what we're doing is we're focusing 100% on what we get out of it. We get the viral, kind of the exponential growth, right? And when we refer to our content as being viral, we're only thinking that our content is going to spread. We're not thinking at all about the minds and the lives of the people that are going to consume and happily spread that content, right? We're only thinking what we get out of it. So we start to get to work on our content, our article, our video, our website, our new product, or whatever, right? And with the goal of going viral. And right before we hit publish or send or submit, we all do this. I do this. We say a little prayer and we say, dear marketing gods, please let this be the one that goes viral. And we send our baby off into the universe, right? Because we're aiming for virality or thinking number one about us, not about them, we miss our target. And instead of taking a second saying, why didn't this resonate with them? What could I have done better to touch that person? Instead, what we do is we take a shotgun approach and we produce piece after piece after piece after piece, trying to find something that just sticks, right? As a result of that, 60 to 70% of content in the B2B space goes totally unused. Think about all the blood, sweat, and tears that went in producing that website or that product or that white paper or whatever, and it's just going to sit on a hard drive, never to be seen by human eyes ever again. Like, what a waste. And because of that, 9% of marketers only 9% actually strongly agree that the marketing is even working. And because of that, only half of marketers feel highly proficient in their jobs. And this to me is like why, this is my purpose. It sucks to not feel like you know what you're doing, right? And this is why I teach at our university. This is what leads to burnout. If you don't feel like you know what you're doing and you're just throwing stuff, that you're going to burn out. That's not a fun job. It's fun to feel like you know what you're doing and there's a pattern, right? I think the problem is that we put this as the number 3 problem. That's messed up. That's our number 3. That should be our number 1. Because if we could produce more content that engages, we wouldn't have to produce as much of it. And if we don't have to produce as much, we have more time on our hands that we can invest in producing content that is better and engaging. So creating this virtuous cycle instead of a vicious cycle that we often find ourselves in. I think of the marketer as like this person that is both analytical and creative. We love to use data. That's the big hot thing right now in marketing is data, data, data. But if we don't enable that creative part of ourselves, that produces really boring content. This is where white papers come from, right? The most boring, like ebooks or whatever. However, if you don't use the data and you only use creative, you get what I call the Michael Jordan effect. Years ago, we had interns sit in a room and just brainstorm cool ideas, thinking we could just take those ideas and implement them for our clients. Dumb idea. We never did it again. One client came back and said, it was for a client that sold office furniture. He said, what you need to do is you need to get Michael Jordan on a billboard jumping over the freeway, right? And he's gonna be jumping over a pile of desks. And we're gonna put that billboard right next to my house on the freeway. It's like, okay, number 1, dude, do you have any, Michael Jordan would not do that. And if we could convince Michael Jordan to do that, do you have any idea how expensive that would be? And if we could somehow pay for that, the government won't allow us to put a billboard over the freeway. And if by some stretch of the imagination, we can convince the government to allow us to put a billboard over the freeway, you're going to only put one up. And where are you going to put it? By your house? Like, who was that person? That intern was thinking about one person only. He was thinking about himself. He likes Michael Jordan and he lives next to where that billboard would go. He thinks that would be awesome. The fact is, though, that's the mistake we make as marketers is it doesn't matter what we think. We can, like, who cares? It doesn't matter if you think it's funny, if you think it's engaging, or if you think it's creative. None of that matters. What matters is if the market thinks it's fun, cool, engaging, creative, whatever, right? So we need to use both sides of our brain. The data is to learn information about the market, about the world around us. And then our brains are just built to process that data and chew on it and come up with creative solutions that are grounded in that data. And if you don't feel like you have good creative solutions, it's because you don't have enough data. The more data you get, the better your creative solutions will be. David Ogilvy has an awesome quote on this. He says, big ideas come from the unconscious, but your unconscious has to be formed or your idea will be irrelevant. So stuff your conscious mind with information, then unhook your rational thought process. Basically, stuff your mind with just data and data and data, and then let your brain do its work. Let your brain do what a brain is built to do, which is be creative and piece that together. The aha moments, the gut feelings, all of that is based in data that you took in, whether you knew it or not. The beautiful thing is that we live in a world right now that is giving us more data than has ever. So the question becomes, how do we tap into that? How do we tap into information to expand our sphere of understanding? I think we as humans are so bad at thinking we have a handle on the situation, right? Think about the election prior to 2016. Whether you're for Trump or not, right? It doesn't matter. No one thought he was going to win, right? Everyone thought this is going to be a landslide. There's no way. Like, I don't know anyone who's voting for him. Therefore, no one is voting for him. What a dumb assumption, right? The world is so much bigger than our social sphere, our sphere of understanding and experience. And as marketers, it is we waste so much time and money by thinking that we have a complete understanding of a market and what they think and what their experience is like, but that's totally false. So how do we access that data? I have, let's see, how much, where am I on time?
It's been about 12 minutes. I think you're giving a great presentation. You're going to answer some of the questions I'm about to ask. So
okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm going to share with you three ways to gather some of that data, and feel free to interrupt. This is like super free form. So one thing I would recommend, keyword research data is often viewed as just a tactic of SEO or just a tactic of PPC, but we're forgetting to realize what we're looking at when we look at keyword research data. People go to Google and ask Google things that they wouldn't ask anyone. They ask for the things that they want. So why wouldn't we tap into that for everything we do? If you're going to start a new product, do keyword research data before you start a new product, right? Or if you're going to build a new website, do that before you do anything else. That is the entire world, right? Most people use Google, so why not tap into that to gather that information? So for this example, we're going to pretend that we are the marketing team of Acorns. I'm trying to see past this bar up here. Okay, so this is, how do I get this bar to go away? There we go. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get just a mountain of keywords to sort through and then sort through it in 60 seconds. So we're gonna pretend we're Acorns. So if I'm Acorns, I'm gonna go to SpyFu, recommend SpyFu, $30 a month, super cheap. You get tons and tons of data from this. So SpyFu, specifically, you go to SEO research, and then you go to SEO keywords right here. And we're gonna pop in Acorns. So this is my URL. And boom, look at that, look how fast that is. So I'm gonna export that as a CSV. I'm gonna download it and set it aside. Now I'm gonna go back to, I'm gonna take one of my competitors. So in this case, Robinhood. I'm gonna pop them into SpyFu, see everything they rank for, export that as a CSV, set it aside. Same thing with Betterment and Stash. So now I've got like a bunch of competitors. I have everything all my competitors rank for and myself. Now the magic though, don't stop there. Most people stop there. What you need to do is find small micro publishers in your industry. People that write exactly what you do, write about exactly what you do and nothing else. So what's the kind of person that uses Acorns? Well, they go to Mr. Money Mustache, right? This is a blog for people who are trying to retire early but don't have tons and tons of income, right? I'm gonna take them, pop them into SpyFu, see everything they rank for, export that as a CSV, set it aside. Same thing with Penny Hoarder, right? This is a blog, again, it's about how to save money, and it's for people who don't make tons of money. Because frankly, the kind of person who uses Acorns, that's not a Wall Street investor, right? That's just like your everyday Joe Schmo who wants to do investing but doesn't have tons of funds, right? So invest your spare change. So I'm gonna take Penny Hoarder, plug them into SpyFu, see what they rank for, export that as a CSV, set it aside. Now I've got like 7 CSVs that are full of keywords that all my competitors rank for, that I rank for, and some micro publishers rank for. Now what I need to do, I have this template here that you guys can download, and I'll show you how to download this. You're gonna take all of your data. So your competitor data, your client's data, and you're gonna dump all of these keywords in right here, right? And this is what it looks like when you dump it in. Specifically, what you need is term, exact global match, exact cost per click, and SEO difficulty. This is how much it searched, that keyword searched for per month. This is the average cost per click for that word, basically how much people are willing to pay for that word who are buying ads. And then this is how difficult it is to rank. If this number is low, it kind of indicates that there's a little bit of a gap in the market. There's not a lot of big players creating content around that word, which shows that that's an opportunity for you. So what we want to find are keywords that have high volume, high cost per click, and low difficulty. So you're going to take all of these words, then you're going to, once you've assembled them all, you're going to take them and just copy, you're going to copy and paste them into this data dump. Just a quick copy and paste. And you're going to take the next one, put it in data dump, and you're going to need all of them on one spreadsheet. Then you can just use this quick add-on, remove duplicates, find duplicates in unique rows, remove them so you don't have that. And then you're going to dump it into this keyword research template. Now what this does is it color codes each cell based off of how it compares to the rest of the cells in that column. So the darker green it is, the closer it is to being in the top like 2-3% based off of the rest of the keywords. Same thing with bid, and the difficulty is the opposite. The darker green it is, the closer it is to being in the bottom 2-3% because we want low difficulty. So here's an example of a completed template. So I can see what I have here are all the keywords here, right? And this is just a small sample. We're only dealing with 5,000 words. Ideally, you're looking at 30,000, 60,000 words, right? And all I need to do then to find the best words for me, you're actually going to get it in some random order. You're just going to go here and click top keywords, sort Z to A, and boom, everything that is in the top 10% for each 3 of these metrics goes straight to the top. Now, all you need to do, this is the first time you've ever been asked for actual like input and thought process, is you just need to go through each of these top keywords and select them if they are relevant to you. If they're not relevant, skip it. And so I just go through and I mark it with ones, right? I just say, best mortgage rates, is that related? Yes. 30-year mortgage rate, sure. I could create some content there. 403B rollover 401k, if I'm in accordance, sure, I could do that. Applied credit card, maybe. Audi A4 2017, no, not relevant to me, so I'm going to skip that. Auto leases, no, I'm going to skip that. Bad credit cards, boom, boom, and I'm going to go through that and select all the ones that are relevant to me. Then once I've done that, you sort by selected keywords, Z to A, bring everything you selected at the top. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to group them based off of topic. So actually not based off topic, but based off of searcher intent. What is that person trying to find when they search for that keyword? In this case, you know, these are all bad credit cards, bad credit cards, bad credit for credit cards. Basically, people with bad credit that want a credit card. That's all in the same, they're looking for the same thing. So I could create one piece of content and rank for all 3 of those keywords. And that's going to fuel my content. So once I've sorted through, I've grouped them all, then the last thing I do is I come here and here's all of my keywords and they're grouped by intent. So now I just take that group of keywords and I create a new landing page, a new blog post, a new video, whatever around that topic, and it should rank with some promotion for all of those keywords. 90 Floor has actually built some software that does all of this. So all you need to do is click new report here. You put in your URL, you can put in competitors, it goes up to 10, and you can put in micro publishers here, and then just hit run, and that's it. And then it spits out a report that looks like this. And it's basically the same thing. So it shows all the keywords. You just sort by top keywords, Z to A, and you can select which ones you want. Now, what's cool about this is the keywords that you select and save, it will go through and find matches that are on the same topic. And so that way you're able to find keywords that are not necessarily top keywords, but it's the same topic. You can lump those all into huge keyword clusters. And then you just export it and boom, there's your content map. There's your next product launch. We had a team that was using this and they were building, they were creating a business around belts, and it was a belt that was made out of rubber. And they did this keyword research and they found this chunk of keywords that were all about belts that were really good for skiing. And no one was creating anything around belts that you wear while you ski. And they thought, well, this is made out of rubber. This is a perfect ski belt. So they changed the whole name of their product, the whole position of their company to around ski belts. And now they're the #1 ski belt in the world. And there's tons of volume around that, no one providing good content. And so they found an awesome hole in the market and gave people what they want, which again, this is about expanding your sphere of understanding and understanding more about what people are asking for rather than what you think they need, right? So that's keyword research as a method for content production, for business and product research. Another thing I want to go into, another cool tool that I strongly recommend is Sparktoro. If you guys haven't checked out Sparktoro, this is where it's at. Sparktoro is so awesome. It connects so many different sources of data. Definitely have to be using it. So again, let's pretend we're acorns and I'm small, little tiny acorns and I'm competing against big, giant Betterments, right? They're way bigger than us. And so I want to steal away some of their market share. Sparktoro, you can say, my audience frequently visits the website betterment.com, and it will tell you who they follow on social media. It'll tell you what podcasts they listen to, what other websites they visit, what YouTube channels they subscribe to. And so all I need to do is go and plug in all my competitors into Sparktoro, and I can see, okay, it looks like 13% of people who go to betterment.com follow this guy, Mark Faber. Who's Mark Faber? I'm going to open it up. Turns out Mark Faber has this podcast. Great. I'm going to reach out to Mark Faber and I'm going to get on Mark Faber's podcast. And now I'm going to get access to 13% of Betterment's market share by doing that. Great. Easy. Then I can see all these podcasts that Betterment fans go to. Capital Allocators, Behavior Gap Radio, Animal Spirits Podcast. I'm going to go sponsor each one of those podcasts and I'm going to try to get on as a guest. I'm just going to eat away at Betterment's market share, right? With the value proposition that is better than what Betterment is offering their market. And in that way, and I'm going to do that with Betterment. I'm going to do that with Robinhood. I'm going to do that with Wealthfront. I'm just going to eat away slowly market share over and over and over again by, again, I had no idea who Mark Faber was prior to this. I've never heard of Capital Allocators podcast. That's not my world. I don't, what do I know? I'm just a marketer, right? But now I know what the most popular podcast among Betterment fans is, and that's Capital Allocators.
Pretty cool recipes.
We've
got about 8 minutes left. So
okay, cool.
More recipes.
Say that again?
I'm going to ask you some questions before you.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
So my number one question is, a lot of people that have come on previously talk about keyword research, but they talk about it in finding the keywords that nobody has hit and just going and typing in Google. You're saying not to do that because you're still biased. You're still typing in things that you think no one's searching for. So this is a better method.
Yeah, if your keyword research starts with everyone, like you look through guides and almost always it starts with brainstorm. That's a signal that that's a bad keyword research process. You should not be brainstorming keywords. That's not our role.
Gotcha. Once you do the keyword research in the way that you're describing instead of brainstorming and you come up with a lot of stuff that your competitors are ranking for, where do you see the cutoff of something is too hard? You can start with the lowest competition, highest use keywords, but at what point does the ROI you see you should stop making content around that and you should go somewhere else because it becomes too difficult?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it totally depends on who you are. If you're Capital One, yeah, go ahead and try to rank for the word credit card. But if you're some mom and pop credit union, that's out of your league, So it kind of depends on who you are and where you're coming from. The bigger the site you are, the more clout you've got. Like you can go after and rank for stuff without even trying. Versus, you got to be a little bit more strategic if you're a small person.
Is that all based on the site performance, or is that based on the advertising that you do as well? Because you talked about if you can promote, then you can get out there. So what would you recommend?
Yeah, that's actually a great. Yeah, I'm glad you asked that and followed up, because what I was talking about is really just for organic. So if you're trying to rank for that word and you're small potatoes, don't even try, right? But if you're trying to get out in front of an audience, this is still a great, if you learn that people are super interested in this topic, and yeah, Capital One and Discover and whatever, they rank for that word, but you see so much volume and interest around that, go ahead and create a video and get that video on some other bigger platform. You already know there's interest there, right? And so if it's about ranking organically, maybe go for something else. But if it's about launching a new product or creating a new video or podcast or something, go for it. There's opportunity there.
That's a great answer. Tying into how you actually rank the different keywords you're going after, I see that the number of people that go to that keyword is one of your metrics, and that's you want to get as many people there And then difficulty is another one. Is there a metric in there that is how much they care about or relate to your specific product? I know you're ranking by area, but you previously said right at the beginning, don't go with what's the biggest audience, go with what is the most niche audience. So do you ever go after something that only has 500 people clicking on it because you know you can convert those 500 people with no effort whatsoever?
100%. Yes. Often it's those small keywords that are just so niche, but everyone who searches that is ready to convert. Those are fantastic. The problem becomes like in SEO, this is why, like, if you're going to hire an agency, hire one that does SEO and PPC, because PPC can validate like within a week or a month whether or not that set of keywords is an appropriate target. Once you validate that, then you can spend the next 6 to 12 months ranking for that group of said keywords and know you're not walking down the wrong path, as opposed to waiting 12 months to learn, turns out people who search that keyword are not looking for what I do, right? So having a combination of the two is like the perfect way to execute like a solid SEO strategy.
Gotcha. That actually ties into the next question, which is when you said you click the button and you pray to the marketing gods that it works, is the way that you can test, like you see a chunk of keywords around people that want a credit card, can you test a really short piece of content to see if people click on it before you write the whole article? Or do you always have to go for the keyword and write the entire piece of content to run that 6-month test?
So you can test. You could do a shorter piece and kind of see how people respond to that. You could play around, you could either buy some traffic and send it to it through some ads, or you could promote it on social and kind of see how people respond to it there. There's also a method that we call semantic analysis that allows you to kind of spin up a really hefty piece of content and ensure that it's complete around a given subject without investing a huge amount of time and research. And it's kind of going through and analyzing what does Google think is important around that specific keyword and making sure you hit all those topics. So doing some semantic analysis can help decrease the risk involved when creating that big, giant piece of content.
Got it. Cool. So this is amazing. I have to make some comments on your story about the rubber belt. It's almost a very, very similar story to how Under Armour got started.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Under Armour got started as this high-end kind of college lacrosse Under Armour that you would wear because like nothing really fit like lacrosse pads as well. And so the guy came out of like the Johns Hopkins area in Baltimore and basically created Under Armour, concentrated on one market, and now it's used pretty much by every single sports kind of person in the world. Like, cool. By concentrating on niche. There's one thing in your presentation. Presentation is great, by the way. There's one thing that I'm just like I'm missing a logical leap here, right? So it felt like two presentations. One very tactical, where you're doing like, okay, this is the keyword research that you do. This is how you do the keyword research. And at the beginning of the presentation, I was all bought in on the concept of most B2B marketing content it's missing the mark, right? There felt like there was this missing spark of creativity aspect in there where you have this very tactical keyword research and you kind of have this intent where you want people to engage with your content. But I mean, my challenge to you is like, I've done this keyword research, similar to keyword research approach, not exactly. Also have done paid campaigns that initially tested really well, but then the long-term churn on a SaaS product was like atrocious, right? Yeah. So your question is like, it feels like the one part was like almost like how to brainstorm and how to engage, but I feel like there's almost a missing spark in what you're describing there of how to get people to really engage.
Yeah.
The two sides of your presentation.
Yeah.
I don't know how to turn that into like a more succinct question, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, I have some great examples. I wish we had some more time. Let me share with you another example. And this is specifically around the keyword research. So
wait, is the keyword research just the starting point to start to generate a brainstorm and generate ideas?
Yes. So again, like kind of like what I was saying at the beginning was, as marketers, we feel like often we're just throwing stuff out because we love brainstorms, right? So what we're trying to do by doing this is gathering more data to increase the likelihood that what we throw out will land, right? We're still not going to be 100%. We got to do some testing. We've got to run on some kind of gut feelings here. But this is an example. We found through the same keyword research I showed you that there was tons and tons of volume around Buffalo Wild Wings sauces and how to make them at home. And we were doing marketing for a blender company. And that's what you need to make the sauces, right? So we thought, boom, here's a great opportunity. So we produced this piece about Buffalo Wild Wings and how to make all their sauces at home, right? And we put all these recipes together. The opportunity, there's so much search volume, such low difficulty. All we did was publish. We didn't even promote it. And it gets 35,000 to 50,000 searches, or not searches, but visits a month for with no promotion. You just hit them up with some calls to action to get them into an email drip campaign so that they get other recipes like this, because people don't buy blenders like every month. You buy maybe 3 in your whole life. So the goal with Blend Tech is to get them to build that relationship. But yeah, this is an example of that chunk of keyword data helped us come up with the idea of doing Buffalo Wild Wings sauces, which we would never have thought of had it not been for that data to then spark our, and then we get creative and our designers are designing and make it beautiful and blah, blah, blah.
Got it. So the pitch is really this, or the strategy is really this. There's so much low-hanging fruit already out there. Don't try to become the Michael Jordan of creative content, because you can just pick up everything that's out there that nobody's touched yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I would say it just by looking at the data and gathering data, that's the key to success, is data. But you have to then pair it, like you're saying, with the creative execution. You can't just say, here's great data, and then produce a really boring piece. Like, at the end of the day, we're still human, but I know that piece is going to be more likely to take off because of the data that informed that this is the right direction for us to be walking down, right? It's not to say it's always going to be perfect, but it's going to be better than if we were just sat down in a room and thought of crazy ideas, which we like to do as marketers.
We're running out of time, and I want to get your thoughts on this, because this is your space, and then we'll do like the closing setup or whatever. We've had other presenters on here and other speakers present us like different types of data on SEO versus social. What have been presented to is that people engage more with a negative semantic analysis or negativity on social more than they do with positivity. And on SEO, it's the exact opposite. You get higher click-through rate and higher engagement on positive headlines and positive articles than you do with semantically negative articles do worse on SEO. Do you believe this? Would this go kind of in line? Is this something that you're seeing as well?
I would say I buy that on, I don't know, but I buy that on SEO, given that people are searching to solve a problem, not necessarily searching to, although sometimes, maybe searching to reinforce some negative ideas that they've got, but I think on the large part, it's more like I'm looking to proactively try to accomplish something or learn something. And so I could see that resonating. Whereas social, I would argue, I think a lot of marketers think that's the case because negative is so easy. And I think people equally respond to positive. It's just more difficult sometimes for us to do positive. But I think, you look at like Good News or John Krasinski's Good News, whatever, like people love that. And there's not a negative bone in that entire content body, right? We just don't, it's a lot harder to strike the feel good chords than it is the anger chords.
Positive is harder. I love that approach, because if you're doing the positive things and you're going to get the same amount of engagement, but it's just much harder to have such a positive impact.
Yeah.
I really like that answer. It's the best answer I've heard on that so far.
Okay, Paxton, awesome. We're already over time. So 3 final wrap-up questions. 1, where do you go to stay ahead of the wave to learn the things that you're learning to help your business grow? Blogs, articles, etc. 2, that's actually a long question. Second one, if you can do it really short, is what's one campaign you've run that you didn't expect to work and it worked beyond belief amazingly? And 3, where can people keep in touch with you and reach out to you?
Yeah. Okay. So real quick, I read a lot. I'm always reading in a little book. So read a lot, I think. And then don't worry about the tactics. I think people get so hung up on tactics. Like, that's important. You got to know that. But if you don't know the principles, you're going to just spin your wheels. And I think every marketer should be super in touch with their customers. If you're running a booth at some industry conference, sure, send the sales team because you have to, but you need to send your whole marketing team so they can sit and talk with and learn with and develop their own mental model of who that customer is and what they care about and think about and how they talk. That's going to pay way more than sending your sales team, although you need to do both, right? So marketers, whatever tactic, platform, doesn't matter. Learn your customer, learn who they are, and learn how they think. That's the most important thing. And then an example of a campaign that I didn't think was going to take off, but did.
Yes.
So we have a client called eFile Cabinet. They do document management systems, and basically, without getting too nitty gritty, people that deal with lots and lots of paper, you have filing cabinets and all that stuff. Their solution scans it, uses OCR. They deal with all the magic of storing and who that needs to go to and all that cool stuff, right? So accountants is like right in their market, right? Accountants. We did what I'm telling you, a lot of the same research plus more. We got on the phone with their customers. We got on the phone with their sales guys and learned like what do people care about? And we learned they hate with a passion their printer and their fax machine. They just absolutely hate it. So there was a giant conference, 2,000 accountants. We built the world's first mobile rage room. And they could suit up. They had a helmet, some gear, a bat, and they, for 1 minute, got to go nuts on a giant copier. And we filmed them. We got them into our HubSpot. They had to sign up, right, and get into our HubSpot. And we filmed them, and then we sent them a video over email, and we said, whoever's video gets the most votes wins $1,000. So they just went like nuts on these printers. We also got tons of news coverage for it because it was like a crazy thing, right? And because of that news coverage, our SEO started just like going through the roof because we were getting tons of these links pointing back to us. Plus, we got all the people who did it to promote for us by sending out their videos to their friends and family. But in my opinion, the most important thing it did is it showed those accountants that we understand who you are. We know it sucks, that printer sucks. And we know that fax machine sucks. And we know all you want to do is just beat the hell out of that thing, right? So here's your shot. And by communicating the fact that we understand them, that we know what it's like to be them, how much more likely are they to trust that our software is going to do the same thing, right? And that's the key for marketers. If your marketing shows that you don't get them, they're going to believe your product doesn't get them either.
That's a great answer. Okay, final thing. Where can people reach out to you? LinkedIn, website, and also where can we find the best one of those videos that you just described? Because I want to watch it.
Oh yeah. So you can 97floor.com is our website. You can reach me, connect with me on LinkedIn. That's like the place I hang out most. If you just search Paxton Gray, I should be like the only one you see there. And connect with me there. And then if you want access to that template that we created, you can find it. If you just search 97th floor keyword template, it'll come up with the form where you can download that template and access it. And then for the rage cage, I think if you just Google e-file rage cage, it should be the first video that comes up, and you can see accountants just going nuts on printers. It's awesome.
Awesome. Amazing. Thanks, Paxton, for this presentation. You had a really tactile approach for how to find keywords. You have that template that people can download so that they can rank their keywords. I'd go back to the first half of this after they download that template so they can see all of the things you talked about making engaging content. Then I'd flip to the thing about Buffalo Wild Wings as a great example and the rage gauge. So thanks for the tactile approach. Thanks for all the inspiration. Can't wait to talk to you again. We'd always love to have you back on. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome.
Another episode of Masters of Marketing. I will see you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.